Well, we mentioned the Tea Parties. Here's a little bit of what's going on this morning in downtown Washington on tax day.
I'm a passionate fair taxer, but I will tell you, I respect Dick Armey, Freedom Works, and the flat taxers. I respect the Reagan tax cutters. I respect the Tea Party who are angry and want a solution, and maybe they don't know exactly what it is, but what we know is that this income tax system is badly broken.
You heard that, Rod. Maybe we don't know exactly what it is we want, but we are angry and we want some change.
We're mad as hell and we want something.
We want something, exactly. And we don't know what we're going to take next. Jonathan Martin from Politico.com. And well, let's start with the Tea Party energy that's out there, and particularly Sarah Palin. We love talking about her on the show. I was really struck by this.
She was the governor of Alaska?
I'm not sure.
I think so.
I don't have to look that up. We'll get our researchers on.
Brief time.
I was struck by, even among Tea Partiers, a plurality saying in this New York Times CBS poll that they don't think she'd be a good president.
And that's what I was so struck by last weekend in New Orleans, talking to Republicans there for that gathering, is that they do love her and they think that she's been wronged by the media and that she really has something to add to the public debate. But there's an important distinction between that and wanting her to be their next president. And I think there are a lot of folks that think the world of her that don't necessarily want her to be the commander-in-chief. I think we all too often miss that, but I think that's a very real phenomenon out there.
So when do you think we in the press will start then not treating her like a potential presidential candidate?
Well, I had that same thought as I saw all the cameras flashing as she spoke, and all of us in the back of that room. Though I do think the event being in New Orleans didn't hurt the sort of press turnout either. But I digress.
Indeed. Well, let's talk a little bit about financial regulatory reform. I put the question out to our Twitter followers whether it's possible that Republicans have the same kind of discipline on financial regulatory reform as they did on health care. Bob Corker making some noises about maybe supporting with the Democrats. What's your read?
I think it's going to be tougher for this reason. It's a more populist kind of issue, and I think if you're a Republican that comes from a poor state, if you're a Republican that comes from a poor district, it's tough to be seen as on the side of Wall Street. It's one thing to sort of bash big government health care taking over your life, but it's a tougher argument if you represent a state where Wall Street is none too popular to sort of be seen as standing up for the sort of big boys.
I agree with that. I also wonder, though, do you think we're going to see some pressure from the Democratic left on this as moderate Democrats try to make the bill maybe a little bit more friendly to Wall Street, that the Democrats may split amongst themselves?
Absolutely. I mean, I think you're going to see real fissures on the Democratic side as well. Organized labor, folks like Bernie Sanders in the Senate, going against folks like Chuck Schumer, who is from a state that has a lot of financial interests. So I think you're going to see in both parties, but probably David's right, more on the Democratic side because they have to be in charge, some of the sort of real divides that are there internally.
Yeah, I just don't know that they have. I don't know that they have the 59 Democratic votes locked up in the Senate.
Healthcare unites Democrats pretty universally, right? If you're a Democrat, you probably believe in some form of universal health care.
Even Blanche Lincoln, apparently.
Exactly. Yeah. But when it comes to sort of Wall Street regulation, it gets a lot more complicated because of sort of regional interest, et cetera, et cetera.
I want your take on Charlie Crist. It looked so clear last week from that statement. Of course, there's no way he's a Republican. Right. He's a Republican. A lot of people now looking to tomorrow for a potential signal whether he vetoes this education bill or not. What is your? I mean, do you think this is as serious as it seems to be right now, that he's actually considering running as an independent?
Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't he, when approaching the Capitol yesterday, simply say he's running as a Republican?
Right. Easiest thing to put away.
Exactly. And also keep in mind, last week that statement was issued in the name of his campaign manager, not Crist himself. When he was on Fox News Sunday, he had a chance to slam that door shut. I don't think he did. The new Q poll out today that shows him winning in a race between he, Kendrick Meek, and Marco Rubio
has got pretty much bunched up.
Still bunched up, but
a chance.
But more of a sign of life than he has right now. So I mean, I think he's got to be awfully tempted. It would make it sort of the race of the cycle. This race already was shaping up to be sort of one of the big ones here, but if you've got that contest, it would be just incredible to watch.
But I was talking to Rick at the top of the show. What do you make, though, in a midterm election year, which is so base-driven? Yeah. Is there, I mean, I know this early poll shows there's room for an independent, but by the time we get to the fall, is there going to be a real path for Crist, do you think?
It totally depends. I mean, keep in mind, he's got a lot of money in the bank. If he's not going after Rubio in the primary, a lot of cash for the fall.
All right, fair enough. Well, this is going to be a great one. I can't wait till tomorrow and beyond on that one. Jonathan Martin from Politico.com. Thanks for being here.
Thanks,
guys.
Thank you very much, sir. That does it for this edition of Top Line. Be sure to click us on again tomorrow.
Twitter.com/The Note. Keep the conversation going. And, we could have Michelle Obama, President Obama. They're all welcome.